Hey, what's up collectors? It's 2D Toys and we're finally back with another video. And for today's figure review, we're going to be taking a look at the McFarlane Warhammer 40k Tyranids Ymgarl Genestealer. And of course, like we always do, we're going to start off by taking a quick look at the packaging. There you see the figure in the nice window box right up front here. You got the Tyranids logo, Ymgarl, Genestealer, Warhammer officially licensed, the McFarlane logo, and the Warhammer 40k logo there. A little bit of artwork on the side. Spin on this side, just got some names, a little bit of artwork there in the background. On the back, you got the Tyranid logo, Warhammer, and a little bit of artwork here of your Genestealers. This side, just some more logos, a little bit of a blue background, Warhammer on the top, and not much on the bottom, just your barcodes and some words. But that's about it for the packaging. I will say, I do enjoy this newer packaging more than I did the older ones, but let's take a look at the figure and see how it compares to the older releases. And here we have our Genestealer opened up and out of his packaging, looking scary as hell, and with everything that he comes with. But before we look at the figure, let's take a look at some of the accessories. And here we are, close up with all the accessories that our Genestealer comes with. We'll start off by taking a look at some of the boring ones, and then we'll get into the real accessories of this figure. So to start off with, of course, you get a display stand here, exactly the same as the older figures. You got your Warhammer logo there, and one peg, just made out of solid black plastic. So, nothing to write home about, but a nice addition anyways. And then for new accessories for this figure, get a nice looking collector card here, the same artwork that's on the back of the box. And on this side, you got the Tyranids of the logo and a little bit of writing in there if you want to pause and take a look at that. Now for the real good accessories, we got these hand parts here. You can see that they're molded awfully nice. You can actually see the finger details there with the thumb claw, and then you got this nice elongated blade here to use as a weapon. Same kind of detail we'll see on the figure. Of course, we'll look at all that later. Nice paintwork here, nice sculpted detail. I like all the marks that he has in the blade, all the scratch marks. It all looks really good. And you have a left and a right, and they're molded the same and painted the same. The cool thing about these is that you can use them for any of the four hands that he has. So nice addition to have. We'll check it out on the figure. And to attach our arm blades, like I said, just pull off one of the hands here. You just got a peg style, and then make sure you got your right side. And it'll just plug in like so. And the cool thing about this is this hand can also go here. So you got a little bit of a mix and match option. But you can also pull off these lower hands. This one's a little tight. Same style peg, same accessory, and you can plug that one on there. So you got a lot of options here for how you want to mix and match your figure for whatever you want to display him as. And now we got our Genestealer back front and center here. I'll put the normal hands back on just for the sake of review, but we'll take a look at some of the details and go through his articulation. We'll get in a little closer here on that head sculpt. Beautiful paintwork here. Some paint. And you also got a little bit of dry brushing here. It's more of a light purple, pinkish color, but it blends in nice with the hue of the skin of the figure anyways. Nice red on the contrast, nice yellow for the pupils. All looks really good. Got some more of that highlighted detail all down the body. And tons of sculpted detail here for the ribs and the midsection and all the way down to the inside of the tail. All looks really good. More of that detail here going down the arms. Tons of molded detail, texture detail on this guy. The hands look fantastic with the red painted claws. And just to show this off a little bit, you can see that the hands are sculpted a little bit differently, with this more of a traditional style hand, and this one's more molded into like a claw. And again, like I said, with the accessories, you can mix and match all these so you can get your desired look. That same sculpt work here down on the legs. And some nice red down there for the claws. With all that highlight paint work done. Looks really, really good. Got some spine detail here going up from the tail all the way up the back. And then some more of that really dark purple here for the, we'll call it a shell, on his back here with the spine detail. And some more of that highlight in between. All the paintwork looks really nice on this guy. Articulation wise, head's on a ball joint, so you can get about up to there. And not so much down, just kind of straight ahead. Of course, you do get some rotation and a little bit of side to side out of that ball peg. You got a ball joint in the upper torso and in the lower torso. So you can get a little bit of a crunch out of it when you're using them both together, so that all looks really good. Not so much back due to the sculpt. Arms are all jointed the same. Get some rotation up here in the shoulder. Hinge in and out. Looks really good. Got some rotation here at the upper bicep. Double jointed elbow. A little bit limited due to the sculpt, but you do get a little bit of range there. And then you got a ball peg for the wrist, so you get some rotation. And you can also get some in and out, although it's a tight joint on mine. There. A little bit of in and out there. Same on this side, and the same on the lower arms, although you might be a little limited by the upper shoulder, but you do get rotation out of that one. In and out, of course. It's the same bicep swivel, same double jointed elbow, and same wrist swivel with some in and out there as well. Thighs can get you about up that far, back pretty far, and out to about there. Little bit of upper thigh rotation. Double jointed knee. I can pretty much get you the full run there. And then you got some rotation here at the foot with some up and down. Do that ball peg. And then of course you get some toe articulation there as well. Nothing in the tail. And that's about it for articulation on this guy. Seems pretty standard fare, but for the figure it works well. You can actually even get him down on an all-four running pose. We'll show that off a little bit later. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. He can be a little tricky to stand, just with the nature of the feet and the way they got these. There's a lot of back weight here and some tiny feet. Luckily it came with a stand, but if you were willing to mess with it a little bit, you can kind of get him to stand without it. Although, like I said, it can be a little tricky. I almost wish there was a little bit of ankle tilt there. I think might help on this guy. He definitely wants to either fall forward or fall backwards. But with a little practice, you can get him to stand on his own. Now that we got the details and the articulation out of the way, let's do some size comparisons. And it looks like your Genestealer is coming in about 7.5 to the top of the head. And it looks like he's about 8.5 on a wingspan there. So decent sized figure. Again, this is about as upright as I can get him and still stand. Of course he's got a little bit of an arch to him anyways, but you might be able to get him to stand a little higher or a little lower to kind of scale with your other figures depending on what you're wanting to do. And here he is stacked up to another McFarlane release from the Warhammer universe. You got an Ultramarine Reaver with a Pacific Rim Kaiju from NECA, a Tamashii Nations Gundam Universe Aerial Gundam, and next to a Monster Arts Godzilla, so you can see how they all scale together, and hopefully that gives you a sense of size for this guy and how you can incorporate into your collection. And here we have our Ymgarl Genestealer stacked up to the previous release, so hopefully you can see how they kind of compare together. And of course, a lot of the parts have been reused, and honestly, the few parts that are different on this guy just came with the artist proof that was already previously released. Those are the gray figures that you can paint yourself. So really nothing new on this guy, other than getting a full painted figure if you didn't want to paint the previous one yourself. But again, this guy looks good, and of course these are army builders, so a little bit of variation in these guys and the accessories that he comes with, so you can mix and match all these. It definitely makes it worth picking up a few of these, or at least these two if you don't have any other ones. And we'll look at some of the differences here. This guy, for the most part, just has an overall just darker color palette. You can see the purples are a little bit darker on the head. The reds are roughly the same, although this part's a little darker here than what you got to paint on the mouth. The highlights are a little darker, and then of course the hands all look the same. Details all look the same. Feet are the same. The major difference, obviously, you're going to see here is the extra color on the back with the dark purple here and just the same flesh tone on this one. So besides for the head sculpts, a little bit of paint, And then of course the accessories. I do appreciate on this guy that not only do you get these hands that came on the regular release, but you also get the claw hands that came with the previous artist proof. So they kind of took a little bit of each one, mixed them all together, painted him up, and gave you a decent looking figure here. And final thoughts wise, we'll just get into it. I really don't have any negatives on this guy. The only thing I could possibly complain about is it's really just another release, a repaint, and just a bunch of reused parts from the previous 2 releases. But again, this face sculpt and the accessories that we got, we haven't seen painted up yet. So unless you love Warhammer and you love painting your own figures, this is the first time we're actually getting this release here with this head sculpt and the accessories it comes with, and a full retail release to where you can just buy it off the shelf and pose it and go to town with it. But again, those are just minor complaints, honestly, and if it doesn't bother you, and it definitely doesn't bother me, this guy's a great action figure. The articulation on this guy is fantastic, and I don't often say that about McFarlane figures because normally they lean more towards into the design and the overall look and kind of limit the articulation, but this guy's kind of an exception. He looks fantastic, and even though some of the joints, especially in those double jointed elbows and knees, even if you're not getting the full run, you're getting more than enough that what you need to get this guy in the poses. The double ball joints in the waist helps give you that crouch pose or the crawling pose or just an upright pose, and honestly, I really can't complain. The surface detail, and while there's not a ton of paint, I mean, they highlighted all the surface detail on this guy. The dark purples look fantastic on the newer releases, and that same blood red comes through really good on the bone white skin. And he just looks fantastic no matter what figures you put him with. Even just the overall build quality and the tightness of the joints and everything out of the box is good. Of course, we'll see how they fare over time. Some of my McFarlane figures have loosened up quite a bit, but I haven't had any issue with any of my Warhammer figures, and I don't see these new ones being any different than the previous releases. So honestly, to shorten it up, I think the paint looks great, the colors look great, the surface molded detail all looks fantastic. I think the accessories that he comes with are just molded to the nines, and they look fantastic. I love Tyranids. I love the inspiration that they've kind of taken from the Xenomorph aliens, and you also get a little bit of that Zerg vibe from StarCraft with the hive mind and the way these guys operate. And they've always been one of my favorite factions from the Warhammer universe, and I just love the way they look, and I love the way they operate, and I really hope that we get some more different styles of Tyranids from this line. I think they would be fantastic. And that's really all there is to say on this guy. This has been my review of the McFarlane Warhammer 40k Tyranid Ymgarl Genestealer. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button before you head out. Also, hop down in the comments, let me know what you think about this figure and whether you're excited to pick these up or any of the other future releases we got coming from McFarlane. I really hope they continue with this line. I have all the previous releases and I love every single one of them, and honestly, I can't wait to see what they do next. As always, I'll try to leave at least one link down below where you can possibly pick this guy up at still. And also down in the description, you'll find links to all our social media channels if you ever want to follow us at any of those. But that's really all there is to say. Till next time, guys, for the love of toys, we'll see you.